There's a lot of wild, crazy news today. In fact, as we're taping this broadcast, news is breaking.
Yes, it
Somebody
is.
says if it keeps breaking, why don't you fix it? Well, only God can fix what's
That's
breaking
right.
Yeah.
around the world right now.
There's actually so much news. Just this morning, whenever I was trying to gather it, I had difficulty because I'm like, well, do I report on this or do I report on that? There is so much news. And like you said, Pastor, it's all pointing to the book of Revelation. It's all pointing to Jesus coming back.
I believe with all my heart that what the prophets are saying, that we have maybe at best another year to really get things ready, but I believe the collapse has already begun. I believe we're in the beginning of the book of Revelation. We're in the beginning of the time of sorrow. Our stock market recently has dropped in one day.
Yes.
The largest fall in one day in several years.
Incredible.
And the Lord spoke to me back a few months ago that we would have an October surprise. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I do know that, and we're seeing some of that right now, whether it's the Ebola or what's happening in the stock recently. I mean, just a few days ago, we were seeing a drop in the stock market. At one point in time, during the middle of the day, it had went down over 400 and something points in the middle of the day. Like I said, it was down below 16,000 points, and the high just last month, our record high, was 17,229. It dropped a percentage of 1,300 points.
You know what's crazy, Jim, is as I got in the car this morning, turn on the car, immediately the news is on, and the words that came out of the reporter's mouth, that moment was, they're calling this an October surprise. Your words. I was shocked. That were the first words I heard out of the reporter's mouth.
This is really, I think this month of October, is really the beginning of a rocky, rocky road.
Yes.
And it's so funny. Andrew, our vice president of broadcasting, he said, Jim, I want you, he found a piece of tape for me. So let's just roll that tape. Mondo, do you have that B-roll? Just go ahead and roll that right now. I believe there's going to be something this fall and something next year in the fall. I really believe. I keep thinking of the October surprise, but it's either September, October, but there's something major. I know it. I've heard the voice of God in my spirit.
Yes.
So
Wow, there it is.
that's the piece. It just.
Notice that you said, because I haven't seen that piece. I knew you said October surprise back in June. But what you said was, I'm hearing October surprise, whether it's September or October. And with the breaking news everywhere today with Ebola, what happened on September 24th? I'm just making this connection right now on stage. Was that the man who has previously died from Ebola became contagious on September 24th.
It was the beginning of the Shemitah year.
The Shemitah year, day one.
On the day one of the Shemitah year, the first Ebola case is announced in the United States of America. First time ever in the United States of America. And then what happened on October 8th?
Well, on October 8th, that was the second blood moon. And that was the day that the first Ebola patient died of Ebola.
And what happened to us a few days ago, we got this book that somebody discovered, again, of Dave Wilkerson. Dave Wilkerson's doing more preaching than he did when he was alive, I think, because people are trying to get a hold of his books, and we just keep hearing another message. And he says, right now an AIDS plague is spreading throughout America. This is 18 years ago.
That's right, 1996.
But I believe something even worse could happen to this nation because of something I see in Isaiah 22. Suppose the awful illness called Ebola strikes with a fury in America. This is the disease that can kill a person within a week. Here he writes Ebola. Why would anybody say Ebola? Ebola wasn't even thought of it coming to the United States of America 18 years ago.
No.
And yet this prophet says this. And he's been warning and warning America about something that could come.
And he was comparing it to, as like you were saying, the AIDS that was sweeping across America at the time. Well, this news article from the AP, from the World Health Organization, they say this, that Ebola right now, Ebola is modern era's worst health emergency. The World Health Organization called Ebola outbreak the most severe emergency in modern times.
This story is the most shocking story, I think, of all of them. 60 days to beat Ebola, United Nations warned. This story is the most shocking report I think I've ever heard.